8:30. We are meeting in person in the Nauset Room in Town Hall in a hybrid format with remote participation and are live streamed on Channel 1072. And I will take attendance. Tim?
I'm here.
Ginny?
Here.
Dick?
Aye.
Judith?
Here?
Jerry is absent today. Drew C. here. Ken?
Here.
And David is absent today. And we are joined by John Janelle, our conservation agent, Christina Smith, our conservation office manager, and Meph Runyon, our liaison to the select board. Our first order of business this morning, request for determination, Cynthia and Bill Siebold, 63 Old Field Road, by Ryder and Wilcox, map 64, parcel 6. Proposed installation of a sewage disposal system to replace existing cesspools serving a single-family dwelling. Work will occur within the 100-foot buffer zone to the top of a coastal bank. Good morning.
Good morning. Stephanie Sequin with Ryder and Wilcox. I'm representing Bill and Cynthia Siebold. I think Bill is here remotely. This property is at 63 Old Field Road. It's a little over 5-acre piece of land located at the very end of Old Field Road. The property is basically a peninsula. It's bordered on Little Pleasant Bay on one side and Salt Marsh on the other side. There's a coastal bank that pretty much wraps around the property. The majority of the site is within the 100-foot buffer to the top of the coastal bank. There's just a small area where the existing house is that's outside of the 100-foot buffer. And we are also within the Pleasant Bay ACEC. There is an existing 6-bedroom dwelling. It has a converted cesspool system, also an on-site well. The property was transferred late last year, early this year, and as a result of the real estate transfer, the existing cesspools have to be upgraded to a Title V system. The only place that is out to try and come up with a location for the new system, the existing building is pretty much eliminating the use of the area that's outside of the 100-foot buffer to the top of the bank. In addition to that, the existing 100-foot protective zone around the existing well is further eliminating the use of that area for the new septic system. So the proposed septic system is essentially going back in the same general area as the existing cesspools. Positioned it so it's pretty much centered between the banks on either side. At the closest point, the proposed leaching system is approximately 90 feet from the top of the coastal bank. I tried to keep as much as possible of the proposed system in the existing yard area, but some of it, because it is 6 bedrooms, does have to go into the wooded area. So there will be some trees that will have to come down in order to install it. I'm showing a limit of work around the proposed system and specifying that a fabric silt fence be installed along the limit of work prior to and throughout construction. I'm also showing a silt fence along the lower edge of the driveway just to contain any runoff that there might be. All excess excavated material will be removed from the site upon completion of construction, and the disturbed area will be stabilized and revegetated with native grass mix, maybe some ground covers and native shrubs. We did meet with the Board of Health last Thursday, and they approved the variances that we had requested.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, questions? Anyone? Tim?
I just have a quick question. The existing well, that is potable water? I've heard rumors that it possibly wasn't. It was a concern.
There are some issues with it, and they will have to have some sort of a treatment system.
Okay. Okay, it's like my house. Yeah, okay. And you're going to remove some trees. Maybe it'll come later, but any possible way of planting more trees, of the ones that are going down?
would not want to plant trees around where the leaching system is going.
Right, no, I
They could-
understand that.
But yeah, if we wanted a few trees planted elsewhere, they're perfectly amenable to that.
Okay, that'd be great. Yeah, 1-to-1, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Questions, guys? Ken?
Hi, Stephanie, really helpful plan, well articulated, and your presentation, as always, was spot on. Just a couple questions. The test hole locations, is there any magic to the number of test holes that are done and where they're sited specifically?
We are supposed to do 2 for in the leaching area. In this situation, there's underground electric running through the area where the leaching system is going. So we had to sort of just do the test holes wherever we could find an open spot that wasn't going to be too close to the cesspool, and avoiding the underground utilities.
Okay, that's helpful. And then if you wouldn't mind, could you just elaborate on your construction note about stabilizing the disturbed area and revegetating, what you envision there? Just the general contours of those comments?
Yeah, just making sure everything is compacted after it's backfilled. And the existing yard is just Cape Cod lawn, so that will just be restored with loam and native grass mix.
So kind of steady as she goes, in other words?
Yeah,
Okay, awesome, thank you.
okay.
Did you have something, Jude?
So, yes, thank you. So there's no work being done on the house or the property aside from, this is just strictly,
This is the upgrade, which they've been, it's obviously under order because of the property transfer. There are plans in the works for renovations, expansion to the house. They're nowhere near finalized. We will be back before you at some point for that.
okay, well, having already gone to Board of Health and gotten their approvals, it's probably too late, but, as always, I will say, this would have been a lovely location to think about an innovative alternative septic system. They're not the best, but they certainly do reduce at least some nitrogen. And given the location of this house, completely flanked by Pleasant Bay, that would have been a great plan. So if they would still consider that, that would be wonderful.
We have talked about it, and they're considering it.
Public
Thank you.
service announcement. Yeah,
Thank you.
Well said.
Do you happen to know which type of tree is coming down? Are they a bunch of cedars up there? I can't remember if they're pines.
Signs, yeah.
Pines. Yeah. I mean, it's a very well treed lot at it's a big lot, obviously. There's a lot of trees around, so I'm not as disturbed by losing some trees for that septic system as I would be if it wasn't as well treed as it is. But yeah, thank you for staying out of the ACEC, obviously, and it's kind of the only spot you can do it in, so.
Imagine that, in 5
Yeah.
acres.
Very limited. So, all good.
Anything else? John, did you have anything on this?
I didn't, there was a lot of, we walked up to that, it was all pitch pine with a greenbrier understory. Hanging them with a 1-to-1 special condition might end up with a lot of trees. Just
I don't.
'cause there was a dense stand of,
I'm not sure. I don't think it's necessary in this case.
Okay,
more,
that's fine.
my only recommendation would be that it just go to non-lawn type of seed mix, whether it's woodland or ground cover or shrubs or whatever you had suggested.
Yeah,
That
no
not
mow type.
become a maintained lawn.
Yeah, no mow type stuff
After the
would be,
disturbance is done.
Maybe some pollinator mix. Nice.
that would be lovely.
Juicy. So one PSA, there is going to be drought restrictions coming up, and establishment of new lawn is going to be restricted with sprinklers for May and September. There will
No sprinklers
No
this year.
sprinklers, no automatic sprinklers at all. So just, so you know. And that includes people on wells.
I think with the situation with the current well, the last thing they want to do is water extra plants.
That's also good. But just wait as you're planning for reestablishment.
Okay.
Nice brackish well, perfect for boiling
Perfect.
pasta. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, if there's nothing else, can I get a motion on the RDA?
I move to approve the project at 63 Oldfield Road, the on-site.
Is this a hearing?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, yeah, my apologies. Is there any public comment on this project in the room or online, Mia?
No hands raised.
Okay, motion to close the public hearing.
I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor, Tim?
Aye.
Ginny?
Hi.
Aye.
Judith?
Aye.
Brucey? Aye. Ken?
Aye.
And a motion on the negative determination for
Okay, round two, Judith. I move to approve the project at 63 Oldfield Road, the proposed on-site sewage treatment and disposal system, originally submitted by Ryder and Wilcox on December 16th, 2025, revised March 18th, 2026.
Second.
And just to be clear, we are voting on a negative determination. Yeah. Okay, all those in favor, Tim?
Aye.
Ginny?
Aye.
Dick?
Aye.
Judith?
Aye.
Brucey? Aye. Ken?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, our next order of business, notice of intent, Scott and Diane Greco, 24 Camp Road by Schofield Brothers, map 12, parcel 74. The proposed construction of a pool, patio, and garden shed, and the installation of native plantings. Work will occur within the 100-foot buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetland and within riverfront area.
Good morning. For the record, I'm Laura Schofield from Schofield Brothers, and I'm here with Phil Cheney, who's the landscape architect on the project, and we're also here with Scott Greco, who's the homeowner and the applicant. So this is 24 Camp Road. It's an existing residential lot that's just over an acre. And this property borders on a bordering vegetated wetland to the rear of the property. This is a shrub swamp that was a former cranberry bog in its prior existence. The border between the BVW and the uplands is pretty distinct. The backyard gently slopes and then kind of drops off into the wetland. The 100-foot buffer zone overlaps approximately 60% of the property. This is the 100-foot buffer zone in red right here, and we have the 50-foot buffer zone in red right here. And we've also filed this project under the Rivers Front Act because there's a man-made drainage ditch over here that extends into the BVW, and it's basically a man-made connection that allows a hydraulic connection to a lower wetland system. But because this shows up as a perennial stream on the USGS quad sheet, it counts as a river, and it's really an intermittent stream, but at the moment, we can't disqualify it as a river because we're in a drought right now. So if we went out there in August and took pictures of it 4 days in a row being dry, that normally would be enough to disqualify it as a river, but you're not allowed to do that during a drought. So we just we're just filing it under the Rivers Protection Act for now. So the 200-foot riverfront area overlaps the property as such. So the project is a construction of a patio and a pool behind the house. We're also proposing a 10 by 12 garden shed and some flower beds within the riverfront area. And we've proposed some native plantings as mitigation for the project. And so construction staging is within the existing driveway area. Construction access is from the left-hand side of the house, which is pretty wide open and mostly just a lawn right now. So we've called for a staked silt fence and wattle erosion control. We've called for that on the plan. And Only 254 square feet of the proposed pool and patio is within the buffer zone. So we tried to minimize the intrusion into the buffer zone with the pool and the patio. Most of the patio and the pool equipment is outside of the 100-foot buffer zone. And we have called for a bunch of mitigation for the project. We have some choke cherries here next to the pool. And we also, in this area, when we build the pool, as we talked about on the site walk, there's about 6 trees that'll have to come out to facilitate the installation of the pool. So our mitigation calls for 7 trees and numerous shrubs to be planted down along the edge of the vegetated, bordering vegetated wetland. And the goal there is to create a 25-foot filter strip. Right now, it's Cape Cod lawn that just kind of runs all the way down, down the slope. So we're calling for a number of trees and shrubs, and also that area will be reseeded with a seed mix and have it be more of a meadowy appearance than the Cape Cod lawn that it is now. So just quickly returning to the riverfront regulations, when DEP issued the file number, they had a little comment that said if the Commission finds the project meets the definition and performance standards of a redevelopment project, then the project does not require any further review through the lens of the riverfront regulations. And so this is a redevelopment project. It's an existing development within the riverfront area that we're altering, so we meet that definition. And the performance standards for a redevelopment project are, number 1, will the proposed work result in an improvement over existing conditions? And with the mitigation that we're providing within the riverfront area and the buffer zone to the BVW, I would say yes, there's a great deal of environmental improvement there. Stormwater must be managed according to DEP standards. DEP doesn't require stormwater management for single-family dwellings, but as we saw in the field, the roof runoff is not connected to dry wells right now, so that will be something that we'll be doing in conjunction with the project, so that we meet that standard. The work that's proposed is not closer to the riverfront than existing conditions, so we meet that standard. And we've tried to design the project to be, in a direction away from the river and towards the outer boundary of the riverfront area, which we've done. And lastly, the riverfront regulations allow you to alter up to 10% of the lot within the riverfront area, and including the proposed project before you today, that brings us up to 8.5%. So we're below that threshold, and we meet that performance standard as well. So even though we don't think it's a river, it's an intermittent stream, we still have checked all those boxes just in case it was a river. So returning to the bordering vegetated wetland and the Orleans regulations, we have provided the erosion control. We've provided the mitigation that Phil can speak more to. We're going to install the dry wells for the roof runoff, and the project has been designed to stay within the 75 to 100-foot buffer, and we'll be creating that 25-foot vegetated strip up against the bordering vegetated wetland. And I think that's it, and I'm happy to answer any questions that the commission has.
Okay, commissioners? Judith?
Yes, so, John, haven't we seen this river or stream on previous projects?
Yeah, we did on the Neighbors Project.
Okay, and I thought this was not just a man-made ditch, this was pretty deep.
Well, at this time, it's river, because it can't be called not, so, or intermittent is what Laura's would try to do in,
Okay.
in a non-drought time of year.
Usually on the drainage ditches, they're pretty shallow. This had some real depth to
Yeah,
it.
there was a lot of water in that when we were there. It was pouring rain that day. But 1058 applies,
There
and
is
I
that.
think Laura highlighted it perfectly for the
Okay.
commission today. So 1058 applies. DEP has opined that if you agree that it can be reviewed and meets 1058.5, then you review it under 5. And I want to come back to that. And if you don't agree, then you would apply 4, which are the general performance standards for the riverfront, and we would work through those. She hasn't done that yet, because I think in her presentation, she feels that it qualifies to be reviewed under 1058.5. The proviso at the beginning of 5, 5 does redevelopment, it's called redevelopment, but it covers expansion of existing structures that she walked you through, with a few metrics that she also walked you through and feel that her project qualifies. But the big proviso at the beginning of that is you can allow this to happen if it meets A, B, and C, provided that it's an improvement. And in Riverfront, when you read Riverfront, it talks heavily about wetland interests and provided that it improves those. We have a proposed improvement to wildlife habitat. We viewed a bad condition to stormwater, groundwater quality perhaps, and prevention of pollution perhaps with, I think, 5, I don't know, we should chase them down for daylighted pipes.
Yeah.
Channeling stormwater down towards, the 50, and then running into that system, both the river and the wetland.
Yeah, I did just see that one that was on the accessory building side of the pool edge that
Yeah.
I figured would be addressed as part of the project, but,
So I think DEP thinks she qualifies. I kind of also agree with the presentation she just made, but keep in mind that proviso has to be an improvement, and has to be an improvement to the wetland interests that are significant to the riverfront area. And I think, whether what's planned with the initial proposal is sufficient for wildlife habitat should be debated, and whether we need to revise the plan to chase down the pipes and challenge Laura to putting that underground into a dry well located somewhere on the site plan to provide residence time for the stormwater as it migrates through the ground. I think that's an obvious one that we should probably discuss today. But keep in mind that if we're going to live in 1058.5 this morning, which I think we kind of can, improvement.
okay, so to that point, nice that there is, that some trees and shrubs are going in. That entire edge, right to the edge of the wetland, has really been cleared. It's just bereft of, the entire backyard is bereft of any understory at all. There's a fair number of trees, but everything else has been whack mowed or cleared right almost to dirt. I honestly didn't even see Cape Cod lawn. So I think it would be very good to have some planting, for sure, along that entire edge of wetland. But then also in terms of mowing and maintaining, retreat out of the 50. Could be mowed, an area could be mowed once a year in order to keep down woody stuff, but there should be some understory there. Ground cover and/or shrubs in addition to the trees.
The Greco's just bought this property not too long ago, so that is their general plan, is to make that more of a natural area, but I'm gonna let Phil talk about that, because that's his.
Phil, maybe you should give your presentation.
Yeah.
too.
Sure. I
Questions about that?
don't have too much to add
Okay.
to really what Laura presented, other than just to kind of point out, we really worked hard to keep the pool within like the existing hardscape space already and as far out of the buffer zone as possible, disturbing as little vegetation as possible. And I've proposed a good number of trees down towards the BVW, as well as some good native shrubs that I think will thrive in that kind of condition that we have there, which is somewhat of an open woodland with, a pretty high water table nearby and so forth. So things like the winterberry and the summer sweet and the swamp azalea I think will be great. The few ornamentals that I used up by the pool are cultivars of native species, which I think would generally be a benefit as well. So, yeah, I think in my conversations with the Grecos is that their intention is, they love the natural look of what's down there and don't really intend to be maintaining that as it has been in the past.
Okay.
So I don't think that's a real concern, you know, going forward, because, yeah, they were kind of enthusiastic about the idea of adding what we're adding. So I think that should be fine.
So on the plan, you've got clover and native wildflower to replace Cape Cod lawn, but it's not really designated how much of that area you're going to be doing that in. I guess that's part of the confusion.
That would typically be just in areas that were disturbed, rather than, you know, adding that to, you know.
So it's been
disturbing other
referred to
areas
as a
to be adding.
buffer, and now it's just referred to areas disturbed. Which is it?
Well, when Scott and I met in the field and we talked about, and Judith, to what you were saying, this area down here would, you know, be seeded. And so in this area, next to the ditch and the BVW, we really are bringing that out to the 50-foot buffer zone down in that area of the
Okay.
lot. And also because the homeowners are enthusiastic about creating more of a natural backyard, these are minimums that are being proposed right now, but I think they'd like the ability to be able to add more if they liked.
Yeah, John?
Just to follow up on your question, and Phil, I don't know if you missed it, but I think you show like a graphical icon there where that seed mix is to go.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the only comment I would have on that, furthering on the chair's comment, is in Chapter 7, usually when 25 feet of buffer doesn't exist, the commission reserves the right to ask for it. This is a site that could really benefit from it because it is banked.
Yeah.
And it just dumps right off and there's nothing there. So I feel like you meet that mostly, except maybe that northern, if this is north up, that northern piece of it. But I would encourage you to look at augmenting that first 25 feet with a shade-tolerant seed mix in addition to your woody plants, just to further that buffer.
Okay,
Yeah. I mean, so
include that.
maybe we can add a special condition to it, at least 25 feet.
Or, yeah, just show a different line on your
Right.
plan so it
Okay.
stands out perhaps.
Sure.
I feel like you missed it. In response to that comment.
That's why I
Yeah,
was
no,
asking. I don't-
Yeah, that's, right.
Sorry, Judith, you were still,
Nope, I'm done.
okay.
Thank you.
Ginny?
So my first comment was, yes, to memorialize your intention, just so that it's there. The second thing is an improvement, and granted, the pool drawdown is quite a ways away from the marsh, but it is still up gradient from the marsh, so it would be better to have any pool drawdown trucked away. Just eliminate the drawdown pit.
I think the Board of Health has that as a requirement that you have to show one. They've
Then
been
I would
requiring that.
request a special condition that says that all drawdown has to be trucked off site.
But the pit is outside our jurisdiction.
It's outside
They-
jurisdiction. That's-
If they
The
install.
water isn't. The groundwater isn't.
I think that's more for the filter, that I am not a pool gal. That's
You're not
outside of my
savvy?
wheelhouse.
I just
But
don't,
I
don't want the
think they,
chemicals going into the marsh.
well, that's why we put it outside of the 100-foot, and I don't think, that's not for draining the pool, or,
It's not for draining the pool, so the pool.
It's my
will be drawn
understanding.
down.
that is for the filter.
Don't know that.
Do you know that?
I see the pool equipment over there.
Yeah, so Laura, I think what Ginny's talking about, and it, you have looks like a pipe going from the proposed pool equipment to the pool area.
Yep.
So what would that be regarding? Drawdown or filtering?
So again, not a pool person, but they have a lot of equipment that connects the pool to
Electrical.
the electrical and
Yeah,
all that
okay,
stuff. So
great.
we wanted to specify that that was going to be outside of the buffer zone. And if you have to drain the pool for any reason, are you okay with having it?
Sure, yeah. The piping is to contain three things. It has the filtering system, it's the heating system,
Yeah.
and it's the electrical.
what I figured.
Place. That's all, it's a closed system, so it's not meant to backwash or drain out of the pool.
Okay, yeah, we need to get this stuff on mic, so let's stop that. But, so are we agreed with a condition that if the pool's ever emptied, it's trucked out?
I think that's fine.
Okay,
Madam Chair?
yeah.
I'd like to continue with the stormwater drainage. At this point in time, we've got 2 or 3 or 4 stormwater drains that, on the property that discharge directly into the resource area. So I haven't heard any like formal engineering system or some way that you are going to install a piping that is to your drains. That's my biggest problem. It's just the NOI didn't describe these drainage functions that you see through the yard in the resource area.
So when we happened to be out there the other day, so right now, the roof runoff is collected into gutters and in the downspouts. And when we were out there the other day, it was obvious that they're not going into dry wells. They're running out on the lawn and then filtering through there down towards the wetland. So what has to happen, we already have, I think the limit of work that we've called for is fine. And those dry wells need to be found, or I'm sorry, the downspouts need to be identified along the back of the house. And all we have to do is install a few dry wells on the way out after construction of the pool to direct the roof runoff into. And I think where those pipes are exiting along the slope of the backyard, that rather than rip them out, Scott and I were just talking about maybe taking the ends of them, cutting them off, and then just filling over them, rather than try and rip them all out, because it seems like there's a lot of them. So we would just leave them in place, but cut them off at the end and fill over them, so they'd effectively just be open-ended. They wouldn't be connected to the roof runoff anymore. But then we wouldn't have to disturb the whole backyard to remove them. And then we'd simply put in some dry wells in the lawn on our way out that's already within our work limit,
Yeah, so I guess.
which is pretty straightforward.
think
I guess
that's
what
what
we're
John
after
was
is
saying. He'd
we
like to
need-
see them on
We
the-
need dry wells
on
on
the
the,
plan.
on the plan, yeah, and spec for it, and just the location.
Is there any way, you said, you're going to cut it and then you're going to cover it. Is, you going to cover it with dirt, or can you just cap it? Is it a round?
All it is a 4-inch PVC pipe.
Okay, can you just cut it and then put a cover over it?
We could do that.
And cap it, so in case there's there shouldn't be, any runoff, it's not going to go anywhere.
Right, and it'll be
Yeah,
covered
so
over
it would be
with dirt.
capped with a PVC cover, is what I'm trying to say.
We can do that.
Okay. If that's okay with the commission.
Well, there's obviously existing discharges. We have to find out first where they're all coming from. We don't even know how many pipes are there. We don't know how you're going to construct the dry wells, what machinery would be going, and, in that area, disturbance, even if you don't lift them out and you just add to them, or however, we don't know enough about what you're using as stormwater drains right now, or we're discussing.
Well, right now, it just is, there's the gutter, it's running into the gutter, going down the downspout, and then it flows by gravity out into the lawn, like we saw. So if you take the gutter, and you could even collect it across the whole back of the house, just have one downspout, and then have it directed into a dry well. Those are pretty standard too, so we can, and it'll fit right there in the work limit. So it's pretty straightforward, and it would make a
Yeah,
big difference.
no, it is.
Just want to see it on the
Yeah,
plan.
Just has to be
Yeah.
on the plan.
Because as Judith said, you do have one, and I do believe it's the adjoining house. Wasn't that where we saw one up on the top by the?
It
there's
was
a-
that end, it may have been from
We
the,
know of one there,
the accessory.
one in the cedars, and one in the grass area. So we know of 3, but we don't know their entry points. And
I think we've covered this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laura's, I think, got a good,
Yeah,
Too.
just has to be on the plan, that's all.
So we would
got a
condition
good
that.
basis for showing them on the plan. Keep them in, try to intercept them, recharge them inside the
Try,
existing.
do.
Find them, intercept them inside the existing limit of work, I think was your strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you could
And that's
show
a,
us
that's
that.
an easy homework assignment.
Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna be hard to find.
Remember if we
They're pretty obvious.
did we find one coming off the accessory structure as well? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
I think that's the
so,
one,
yeah.
That was walking the line of the 100-foot in the riverfront area. I don't know if that was within jurisdiction, but
Doesn't matter.
if it is, excuse me.
It's still cumulative effect.
Tackle that one as
Doesn't matter
well.
if it's in jurisdiction, needs to be, you know what to do. I had a question about your 8 point whatever calculation in terms of the redevelopment. Does that include the garden shed and the lawn being converted to flower beds?
We included structure in that, and so because the flower bed is within the riverfront, we did include that.
Okay,
So, yeah, that was included.
and the flower beds, all native?
That, I,
Not likely, no.
In the riverfront, is that a requirement in the
Not
state
currently.
regs? Okay.
It's certainly encouraged.
It would
I
be
heard,
great.
I even heard Phil,
In a riverbed, it needs to be.
native cultivars, is that, but, yeah, so
I
that's.
mean, it's
what it is.
it's outside the 100, so our local regs don't cover it, but in terms of habitat, and we're trying to, you know, there's a bunch of redevelopment happening, we're trying to make sure we come with a net improvement. Flower beds should feed the local flora and fauna, so.
Looking at where these were outside of the 100, we felt we had some flexibility to use them as cut flowers.
Yeah, the question is whether in the 200 to the river, because we have to count it as a river now, because that's what it's designated as until further notice. I don't know.
We
I
don't.
don't think there's a standard for them.
Yeah.
I understand the
There isn't.
desire. We don't have the current reg.
Okay, just a PSA, please try.
Understood.
And so in terms of the trees, is it a 1-to-1, the replacement trees to the ones we're losing up?
A
by-
little better than 1-to-1,
Yeah.
6 going down, 7 going in.
Okay, all right. And then the only other thing I would request as a condition is maintaining the health of those 2 oaks that are very close to the limit of work. We're concerned about the root systems and what kind of digging and traversing and what's going to be happening along there. So we want to make sure that they're monitored, and if for any reason they do get killed by the work there, then they should be replaced.
Sure. And I think we've got a safe enough buffer from them.
Okay. It seemed like it, but we'd like to have it, I'd like to have it in the,
And they'd like to keep them, believe me.
yeah, I imagine
Trees.
so.
Yeah.
Ken?
Just a couple of quick ones. Phil, the depth of the pool, any sense of that?
Not determined at this point.
Not determined.
Yeah.
The dimensions are determined, the 12 by 24.
Yeah, right, yeah, the
Okay,
dimensions are,
not
but not
the depth, okay. Laura, any magic to the location of the proposed garden shed?
It actually helps to provide some privacy between the property next door, and it's within an existing lawn right now, so.
And just, I know we've beaten this one to death, and I understand that you're filing this under elevated performance standards because of the riverfront, but you also referenced August and checking things. Is that intended to countermand what we've talked about today, or is that just a reference for what could, in theory, take place?
Well, if you wanted to disprove that it was a river, that would be a good time to do it. And I think that the neighborhood, there's neighborhood talk about the fact that it does dry up every year. So it is an intermittent stream, we just can't.
Unfortunately, I don't think we'll be able to prove it this summer because we're in a drought.
We're in
Right.
drought.
Yeah.
So that,
His-
Some year when we're not in a
Historically,
drought.
it has dried up.
Yeah.
okay, so whatever is the situation in August doesn't really affect what we're talking about today, per se.
No.
No.
Okay. That's where I was a little.
No, if you were going to disprove that an intermittent stream, or a stream is intermittent, August would be a prime time to go out there and do it, as opposed to now.
Okay. And the last question, there's an existing patio, that stays, and then the proposed patio.
Yeah.
correct.
Okay. That is all I have.
Okay.
Anything else, you guys?
I would just add that I appreciate that all of that hardscaping and pool was pushed back away from the wetland as far as possible. That's very much appreciated.
So I'm a little fuzzy on the special condition about at least 25 feet. Can we design that out?
Yeah, it's unclear on the current plan. There's an area designated by those cute little flower icons for clover and native wildflowers, but the square footage and the dimension of that is not clear on the plan.
Okay.
So the special condition I proposed was that buffer of native clover, Cape Cod lawn type seed be at least 25 feet from the wetland.
Yep. It's about 20, I think, now. It's just,
I mean, portions of it are much bigger than that, which is great.
the
but-
bank is vegetated at about 10 feet. So I think maybe just having Phil look at that so he can meet that.
Yeah.
Sure,
Minimum
I can
standard.
show a 25-foot buffer that would be reseeded with
That would be
kind
helpful,
of a
yeah.
clover mix.
And then, please
Not-
don't,
not so
please
much-
don't take away the part that goes beyond 25.
Sure, no.
There's a
that-
good
that-
40 feet.
Yeah.
south.
I wouldn't be extending that all the way to the north where we get into the wooded area.
Understood, yeah.
Right.
That's fair.
Do we need to, do we need to have some sort of delineation so people know what the no-mow area is?
Point. I would think that's a good idea.
I think so, yeah.
Stones, super low rail, anything like that to
We
delineate.
we can propose a few marking stones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
keep the mowers out.
landscapers like to mow.
Thank you, Jeannie. Anything else, guys? How do you feel about it?
I'm a little nervous.
Well, I think
All right, but
that
first of
that
all-
was the one, the other was showing the pipes and drains
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
plan.
showing,
And the third, I think, was trucking off drawdown.
Yes.
yeah,
And that was all that I remember.
yeah.
Anybody else?
Oh, and the health of the
Maintaining the
oaks.
health of the
Yeah.
2 oaks, okay.
All right, is there any public comment in the room?
Well, before you close public comment, are you preparing to act today, or you want to see the stormwater stuff on a site plan?
I mean, we can act by conditioning it and having it be on a site plan, or we can continue till all this stuff gets on the plan.
I mean, can you just fix the plans by the
Yeah,
21st?
that would be,
There's 4 pipes coming out of there. Let's
There's at
burden
least
back on Laura to get them under the ground in
If
a
the
safe
existing
place.
pipes weren't there, it would be an automatic.
If it wasn't
note
pouring
on the
rain, that'd
plan
be
to
on
put
site.
dry wells in, and that's essentially what we're gonna be doing, is replacing what's there with dry
Yeah,
They're
wells.
really,
It's enough
don't
to
think-
see on the plan.
okay,
I would recommend you just continue it.
okay.
Not a complicated
Leave the
engineering.
public hearing open.
right.
I'd
Couple.
Well, hold on.
just
to
have
be-
me a condition that it be on the approved plan. It should be shown on the plan.
It's up to you guys. What do you want to do? Do you want to continue and have a clean plan and?
Given Phil's changes and the stormwater, you can see them again on the 21st, and it's really a minor homework assignment that firms up the paperwork.
So without a continuance, saying, yeah.
No.
Yeah, with
No,
it.
he's talking about continuing.
Leave the hearing open, see you back on the 21st with the revisions. I don't think you would get much, I think at that point, you'd be pretty well buttoned
Can I
up.
just, we're not going on an exploratory mission to identify where all those downspouts are.
I mean, you'll
Needing
find
to-
them at the gutter, right?
Right, so all we would be doing is.
Ones that
putting-
are daylighted in the buffer, I think there was maybe even 4.
Yeah, there's a,
Those are the ones that,
the ends of them are very carefully marked with little piles
Right,
of
so I think those are
stones.
gonna be easy to
Easy to
find and
find.
cap and bury. Do we really need to continue? I mean, I'll just show the dry well and Phil can show the 25-foot buffer.
Not a lot of mystery to it. or-
I mean, I was okay with conditioning it.
okay, so if you're okay, the public hearing's still open, so before you close it,
Right?
if you get no comments from the public, I would suggest that you could act on this application, subject to receiving a revised plan that shows all the stormwater, daylighting in the buffer, going to dry wells to be located inside the limit of work, as well as a revised mitigation plan that shows a minimum of a 25-foot buffer to the edge of wetland
With delineation.
with
Yeah,
marked
with
stones as delineators.
Delineator, yeah.
You're approving subject to a revised civil plan showing the stormwater, and a revised landscape plan showing the minimum of 25 foot.
That won't be a problem on our
If
end.
you're comfortable with that, please approve it subject to receipt of those.
And is there a date associated with when? we-
Laura has 21 days to get her paperwork in before we
Okay.
issue the orders.
All right. Okay, so again, public comment in the room or online? Anybody?
No raised hands.
Okay, can I get a motion to close the public comment
I move to close the public comment.
Second?
for 24 Camp Road?
Yes.
All those in favor? Tim?
Aye.
Jenny?
Aye.
Dick?
Aye.
Judith?
Aye.
Lucy? Aye. Ken?
Aye.
And now, a motion.
Now,
You can do it, brother.
You got it.
I got it.
You got it.
Right here. We'll help you.
I move to approve the project at 24 Camp Road, referencing the project narrative by Schofield Brothers of Cape Cod. Couldn't find a date on it, Laura, but we'll just say undated for the time being. The land management plan by Philip L. Cheney dated February 25th, 2026, subject to several special conditions, at least 25 feet buffer to be submitted to us via a revised mitigation plan by Philip L. Cheney. Any pool drawdown trucked away off-site. Stormwater drainage, we'd like to see a revised civil plan regarding the downspouts and dry wells, and a mandatory, maintaining the health of 2 oak trees closest to the limit of work.
And did you cite the site plan
I think it
dated?
was dated March 4th, but there's going to be a revised
Be
date.
revised.
Yeah,
because
but
you're-
that's okay, because we didn't,
Yeah, subject to
you
receipt of a
cited
revised
the,
I
you
had it.
cited the
I cited-
narrative and the landscaping. I don't think you cited the site.
Which I will do now. The site plan, referencing the site plan submitted by Schofield Brothers of Cape Cod dated March 4th, 2026.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
with delineators on the buffer.
As a separate special condition?
No, as part of.
The revised planting plan should include a delineator of that 25, at least 25-foot buffer. That. Okay.
That. I second that.
And I second the whole thing.
Okay. All right. Any other comments? All right. All those in favor? Tim?
Aye.
Jenny?
Aye.
Dick?
Aye.
Judith?
Aye.
Lucy? Aye. Ken?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think we're going to get there.
Thank you, John.
Next order of business, John and Megan Lyons, 169 Monument Road by Ryder and Wilcox, map 62, parcel 36. The proposed removal of an existing dwelling and hardscaping and construction of a new dwelling and hardscaping, including installation of utilities, grading, and landscaping. Mitigation will include removal of invasive vegetation and restoration with native species. Work will occur within the 100-foot buffer zone to a coastal bank, on a coastal bank, within land subject to coastal storm flowage and the Pleasant Bay ACEC. Good morning.
Good morning. Stephanie Sequin with Ryder and Wilcox.
Mike Tanis with Blue Flax Design.
And we're representing John and Megan Lyons, who are the owners of the property at 169 Monument Road. Mr. Lyons is here in the audience today.
Good morning.
This is a 30,000 square foot lot located on Pilgrim Lake. There's a bordering vegetated wetland along the edge of the lake. Pilgrim Lake also falls within land subject to coastal storm flowage. The 100-year flood elevation is elevation 12 in this location. It is an A zone. We traced the 12-foot contour. In general, on this site, the topography, the slope of the land at the contour is between 4-to-1 and 10-to-1. So per DEP policy, the 12-foot contour is the top of the coastal bank. On the very southerly portion of the property, there's a bit of a steeper embankment, and at that point, the top of the coastal bank is a little bit higher. It goes to the point where the slope becomes flatter than 4-to-1. So we're showing the top of the coastal bank, the 50, 75, and 100-foot buffers from the bank, And also, this is, lies within the Pleasant Bay ACEC, and we are showing the approximate ACEC boundary, which is measured 100-foot landward of the 10-foot contour. There's currently an existing two-bedroom dwelling. According to assessor's records, it was built in 1956. The square footage of the building footprint is 1,279 square feet. It's located approximately, the deck is approximately 4 feet from the top of the bank. It's a one-story building with a walkout basement. The building height is 17.5 feet. There is a Title V system that was upgraded somewhere around 1995. It consists of a septic tank and pump chamber, and the effluent is pumped up to a leaching system up at the higher part of the lot. A paved driveway provides access from Monument Road down the hill. It kind of follows the base of the sloping hillside. At the bottom of the driveway, there is a paved parking area. There is an established yard around the house, and the yard extends down to the edge of the lake. And the remainder of the property is wooded and is heavily invaded with non-native species. What's being proposed is the removal of the existing building, total removal including the entire structure and foundation. It will be replaced with a new two-bedroom dwelling. The proposed square footage of the new building is 1,256 square feet, which is a 23 square foot reduction in building footprint. And the proposed building and deck is approximately 18 feet from the top of the coastal bank. So we have pulled it back from the lake, from the top of the bank. This topography here is challenging, to say the least, but that steep hillside is what's preventing the building from going further landward than what we're proposing here. The proposed building will have a second story, and it will, again, have a walkout basement, so 2 stories with a walkout. And the building, proposed building height is 23.6 feet, so a slight increase, roughly 6-foot increase in the building height. The existing septic system eventually will be abandoned, and the property connected to town sewer. This is on the Phase 3 of the sewer project. Not sure at this point if we may have to connect the new building, depending on timing, with the sewer. Existing system will remain for a short period of time until sewer becomes available. We're also proposing to remove a portion of the lower section of pavement, the parking area at the bottom of the hill, and replacing it with a pervious parking area, slightly expanded to allow more maneuvering area. It is a very, I was there yesterday just by myself, and I had a hard time getting turned around to get back up the hill. So with multiple cars, it is rather tight there with the existing situation. So we are proposing to expand that parking area, but to replace the pavement with pervious material. We're showing, as far as proposed hardscaping, really minimal, just a few walkways from the driveway to the building, and then another walkway around the back of the building, but nothing extravagant. There is an existing rinse station that we are proposing to replace in a different area. And there is a proposed retaining wall that's shown on at the base of the hill, just to provide some walking area around the back of the house. As mitigation for this proposed work, Blue Flax has prepared an extensive land management plan, which Mike will go into. There's just under 12,000 square feet of invasive removal and restoration with native plants. In addition to that, they're proposing 835 square foot of existing lawn that will be restored with native shrubs in the, adjacent to the lake. So a big improvement there. I figured roughly 40% of the lot is slated for this land management plan. I've included typical construction notes on the site plan. I've shown a limit of work, one for demolition, which will encompass the entire existing structure. Once that structure is removed, the limit of work will be pulled in closer to the proposed structure. Fabric silt fence to be installed along the limit of work throughout construction. All demolition and excavated material will be placed directly into trucks for removal from the site. There will not be any stockpile. There's just not room for stockpiling on this site. For roof runoff, either gutters and downspouts to dry wells or crushed stone at the roof drip line will be used to contain the roof runoff. And all disturbed areas will be restored in accordance with the Blue Flax planting plan upon completion of construction. I have calculated, I mentioned the reduction in square footage of building area. There will be an increase when we figure in the proposed deck area. The existing footprint of the structure, including both building, roofed area, and porch deck area. The existing is 1,398 square feet. That is increasing to 1,709 square feet for an increase of 311 square feet. So I think a rather modest expansion, and that expansion is happening within the existing yard area. We're not, disturbing natural area for that expansion. So I think that's it as far as the construction. I can either answer questions or hand it over to Mike, and he can get into the land management project.
Let's start with construction, because this is a complicated one, so let's do them one at a time. Judith, you had some questions.
Yeah, so, and I may have this wrong, but John, isn't the ACEC in this area 100 feet from the edge of water or wetland, not from the 10-foot contour?
No.
No.
You're thinking of the other lake, whose lake edge is above elevation 10. Elevation 10.
Pilgrim is below.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, just a little bit. It's about 6 per this plan.
Okay.
So Stephanie should be showing us 100 feet from 9 if you're on the new datum. Should we-
Right.
Did
Yep.
you do that correctly? I can double check real.
Yep.
It is.
I was going to give you some more area outside of the ACEC, but couldn't do that. Okay. So,
Yes.
and it did take me a while, but I did figure out the new footprint over the old footprint to be able to see. How far back is that being pushed? I mean, I know you said it's being pulled back. Are we talking 10 feet, or are we talking
Yep.
30 feet?
So if you look on the existing site plan, the deck is 4.3 feet from the coastal bank. And then on the proposed site plan, the deck is 18.6 feet.
Okay,
So 14 feet landward.
okay. It would be helpful here to see the comparison of, the volume, usable square footage, footprint, given the fact that this is sitting really in a resource area and the entire thing within the ACEC.
Okay. There is on the,
I miss it?
the floor plans, the architectural drawings, on, labeled the ZBA-9, which is showing the proposed first floor plan. There's a little text box that has
Oh, yeah.
a comparison of the existing versus proposed floor area and existing versus proposed volume.
So there's about a 3,200 square foot volume increase, or however, cubic feet, I guess?
Well, that's, Peter McDonald is the architect, and these are his numbers. He's coming up with, what
See,
is
it's
the
currently
increase?
at
Oh, yeah, right,
13.2 and-
16,000 minus 13,000. 3,000 cubic feet, yep.
I think to Judith's point, and I'm looking at this, the best one I got was out of Blue Flax, was able to, on their mitigation planning, was able to give us a little better idea, but for my edification, if we could have an overlay of what is presently there and what is being projected or existing versus what you're going to finish with.
So you're looking for a visual.
Just some,
Yeah.
it's, to me, if you look at the, where the smaller one, let's see, this is the legend, is there a number on it? You can see where it is existing presently. And then you turn to the other page that has what is proposed. And I tried to put a layover on that, and
It shows on the,
It does, but it's hard to see.
it's on Blue Flax?
Yeah.
Yeah, Blue Flax was the one that gave me the best, and I guess the point of it was that northern movement, where you're removing a locus and then moving the proposed structure northerly. Is that what I'm reading, seeing?
yeah, or it's sort of going,
Northwesterly, yeah.
reshaping itself. It's
It is
getting
reshaping
longer
itself.
as opposed to, deeper towards the water.
And we do have the existing footprint. It's very faint
I see it.
on the proposed.
Yeah.
But I can do,
Don't wanna make it-
something at a larger scale and maybe in color.
If you feel that would help us, I think it might help us.
Okay.
It's hard, so it's good that this is being pulled back. But the entire thing is still within not only the 50, but the ACEC, which is pretty much putting us up against a wall in terms of no expansion. And that would be up, out, usable, et cetera. Yes, it's just going to be, it's a difficult site. I totally understand that. So there's probably other questions. For me, I'm
Well-
going to need to see really heavy mitigation, but.
I'm concerned about the volume increase, and the ridge height is going from 32.4 to 41.2. I didn't see any screening trees in front of the building. I see that, it's great that we're replacing what is a bunch of locusts with some natives on either side. And the invasive management work is great, and the reduced lawn is great. I would like to see at least a couple of screening trees in front with that kind of height increase. In terms of mitigating the existing lawn, with that kind of volume increase, I would essentially get rid of all lawn. We're in a resource area. The presumed increased usage based on volume increase would be better mitigated, I think, with, maintaining a pathway around the building, obviously for access, but there shouldn't be any lawn. It should all be converted to habitat and pollution prevention and uptake. Another concern I have is the expanded driveway area gets awful close to the property line, and that's obviously a habitat corridor. And I know it's tight down there, and I appreciate converting that portion of the pavement to gravel, or whatever material you're going to use, but anything you can do to give a little more room for a corridor down there would be great. And then I also am concerned about, there appear to be 2 retaining walls proposed, one behind the house itself and then another one over by the expanded driveway. And I don't see any specs about grading or cross-sections or any of that type of thing. And I would like to see how you're going to go about that, because again, it's all in the ACEC, so any disturbance is considered adverse. So I think we need a little more detail on how you want to go about those retaining walls. And then, is the fire pit staying or going? Because it's unclear to me.
It's moving.
It's moving?
Moving. There is one currently, but it's shown in a new location on the mitigation plan.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the fire pit in the ACEC. I mean, I don't know, get a gas fire up on the deck or something, I don't know. That's just my. I'm sorry, we can't take your comments because it has to be on,
I think, the fire pit also speaks to the fact that we want activity out of the 50, and putting a fire pit in there says that there will be activity there, so
exactly.
that's a non-starter.
Okay, who else? That was a lot. Ken?
I had a lot to add, then you spoke, so now I have nothing to add.
Tim?
I just have one concern with the driveway, the elevation, especially on a hilly terrain, as far as heavy rains, and how that would affect the driveway as it's slowly sloping down toward the house and the lake. Would there be a dry well at sort of the bottom of the driveway?
I think maybe a drainage at the end of the paved area to drain, a drainage system there would be.
Intercept it, yep.
That would be fine.
Off the road.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to talk before we talk about mitigation.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm sorry, Teresa Sprague with Blue Flex Design. I think if Michael has a chance to present the mitigation plan, a lot of the questions that you're currently asking will be answered.
Okay.
So I think regarding drainage, et cetera, we've
Okay.
planned for that in the mitigation plan.
All
Thank
right.
you.
John, you want?
I was trying to beat that, because I know there's another big shoe about to drop in this hearing, and that's the mitigation plan. But I think we're over here doing math, and so it's kind of an appropriate way to talk about the construction piece first, because I met the homeowners, so I think when they were considering buying, the building is in the resource area of the ACC local, so it's subject to that high bar test of our local Chapter 14 for buildings and resource areas. Functions just like it would be on a coastal bank or a dune. So we're trying to understand these metrics, these volumetric changes, square footage changes, and footprint changes. Those are the 3 that the chapter leans upon to say that if there's any increase in any of those 3, there's an automatic presumption. It's presumed to have a negative or increased use in the area, and that's presumed negative. That's rebuttable presumption by you, which you're about to rebut with mitigation, I think. But I think it's important, and I don't see the square footage, so maybe you owe us that. I see that there's a volumetric change of about, of 3274 cubic feet. In my head, that's like a 20 by 18 room, right? I'm doing some math over here, which is not my strong suit. So there's a room there of some size that I think would need to be mitigated in order for the commission to approve. On the square footage, there's a small increase of 311. Sorry, on the footprint. That's pretty small. And I think there's a jog back, and given the grades that you're faced with, you've probably done a lot with that. So volume, square footage, volume and footprint. Square footage, are those in the architectural drawings that I can do math while we listen to mitigation? or-
Yes. It's called existing footprint.
What sheet is that?
ZBA-9, the
In the upper
proposed
left,
first
there's a
floor
box.
plan.
But that is footprint. So
That's
I'm
floor
looking.
area, though,
Oh, it is, so that's square
because it
footage.
says proposed area floors 1 and 2. So it's floor area.
So, hold on a second, so that is square footage, so that's the 311? Well, that's pretty small. It's basically
The 311 is the total structure footprint.
footprint.
Building plus deck.
yeah. Where's the square footage of the living area, I mean, we have the volume.
The quote, usable square footage, the living areas.
It's in this same, what's labeled as existing footprint area is floor area.
For both floors?
Well, there's current floor area and then proposed floor area
Right.
goes.
Right, so it's going from existing 1,252 square feet of
Just
first
so-
floor area.
Just so we know, we're, like, the whole reg is just about to try to figure out the delta, how much change is happening,
Yep.
so.
And it was all kept under 25% increase.
So I have 3274 volume on the plus side, I have a plus side of 311 on a footprint. What's the square footage change?
1563 minus 1252.
That's 311. I thought that was my footprint. So, you can see where I'm going with this. Before we hear about the mitigation, which looks extensive, I'm trying to figure out how we're gonna measure this proposed change, how much change is happening. And then, the only way for you to rebut it is to mitigate the site. So we can get on to that, and then, maybe, I don't know, you could just try to, I think the volume is the biggest one, I think.
Yeah.
That's ceiling heights, and it's, at the onsite, it's an older building, it's a cottage. Modern ceiling heights are typically bigger.
Right.
And so I think the burden's on you to kind of tell us where those increases are for the proposal, and then we can hear from Blue Flax on everything they wish to take on, which we saw was substantial. So I'll stop now and let the applicant keep presenting the mitigation, because it's part of the package.
Yeah, let's hear about mitigation.
So, as Stephanie said, the site is well vegetated with the exception of the lawn around the structure. It's a healthy native wetland with native red maples, buttonbush, blueberry, summer sweet along the pond. But as you move upland, invasive plants become more dominant. There are still native oaks and pitch pines, but increasingly there's invasive trees, including Norway maple and black locust. The understory is heavily invaded with shrub honeysuckle, multiflora rose, and the ground is covered with invasive English ivy and a lot of Asiatic bittersweet. Again, behind the house, the lawn currently extends down the coastal bank right to the edge of the wetland. So we're proposing a full invasive removal of everywhere within the 100-foot boundary. And we're also proposing to reduce the lawn so that the entire coastal bank will be native vegetation, and there will be even a little bit more of a buffer to the top of the coastal bank. So we are proposing the removal of 24 invasive trees, 23 black locust and 1 Norway maple. These trees will be cut, and the cut stumps will be treated with a EPA-approved systemic herbicide. All the shrubs and the English ivy will be removed either mechanically or by hand, and the same thing, the cut stumps will be treated with the same herbicide and left in the ground to decompose. The area will be seeded with a mix of native grasses and wildflowers. Any slopes susceptible to erosion, we will install erosion control blanket on them. And then after one growing season to retreat returning invasives, we will plant woody vegetation, including 24 native trees to replace the 24 invasive trees, and over 200 shrubs and native grasses. The area to the west of the driveway upslope is pretty well canopied now with oaks and pine trees, so we're just going to augment that area with additional shrubs and plugs of some low bush blueberry and Pennsylvania sedge to try to establish a ground cover in there. But, yeah, and temporary irrigation may be installed for the first few years while the plants get established. And we will follow up with invasive species management throughout the permit until everything is under control.
There was talk of drainage.
Yes, I'll add to that. So as part of the invasive species management and mitigation planting, you notice that there's a bit of a swale between the 169 and 165, which also I can speak to wildlife corridor. So that's a significantly canopied area. It's also significantly invaded. We are currently working with the homeowners at 165 Monument Road, and we will be coming back to the commission, I'm happy to say, with a continued land management plan in which we'll be managing invasive vegetation. But in the meantime, that area is entirely naturally vegetated. It's not native, but it's naturally vegetated and undisturbed, so there's no issue with wildlife corridor in that area. We do have an opportunity with the construction of the new gravel driveway area and the removal of the pavement to allow water that's moving down to kind of move into that natural swale area where it can be picked up by the native vegetation, allowed to infiltrate root systems, will filter that runoff prior to getting to the pond. And the addition of the gravel driveway will allow additional infiltration of water where it's currently running and shooting directly down the pavement and frankly right into the structure, so that there is a little bit of regrading there. There is approximately 1.5 foot high retaining wall that we're proposing at the edge of that gravel driveway, and that's just to prevent people from driving off that driveway and into that giant swale down there. As you noted, we're really just proposing to increase that to allow for turning and safe turning, as there's no way to back up and out onto Monument Road from the driveway. So it has been graded to allow for the drainage and water coming down the driveway to be naturally infiltrated and filtered by native vegetation and the existing root systems of the vegetation on the property in that swale area that's being restored.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Just for the record, we can't count on any work being done next door for this filing, so we have to take this filing in and of itself. So again, I'm still concerned about how narrow that corridor is on that side, because currently it is very well vegetated, but we're losing part of it due to the expanded driveway area. You know, there's still a corridor on the other side, but it's part of my concern. And in terms of the mitigation, there's where you're showing replacing existing lawn, you're still showing lawn right to the edge of the coastal bank. And as you know, we like to have a 25-foot buffer to the top of a coastal bank, which essentially eliminates the possibility for any lawn on this property. But it's one way to mitigate for increased volume. So that's why I would reiterate that that would be a great thing, and get rid of the fire pit.
Yeah, I would second that, for sure.
I would agree with that. And would you agree with like a clover mix or some sort?
Just native, yeah, I mean,
Okay.
you can Cape Cod
Native,
lawn it.
completely.
But,
And-
you know, but along the edge of the coastal bank, you know, it'd be good to have some more shrubbies.
That entire area to be naturalized would be just with no lawn at all on the back. If there's a little lawn in the front, you know, a fescue clover mix would be great, just a fescue mix.
I
would be
mean,
great.
certainly
But in the back, just to have the entire area
certainly
naturalized with a
a
path.
path to get around the house for
Yeah.
access, for housework, maintenance, whatever, but I would prefer that be the extent of it.
And I would think, and I hear what you're saying, Teresa, about having the water go into the swale, but I do think that maybe even a small drainage feature right at that point where it goes from asphalt to gravel, there's a tremendous amount of water that's going to be coming down that driveway. I mean, a huge amount. So the overflow for sure to go over into the swale, but it would be good to grab some of it. Or my concern is all that gravel's just going to wash out. The homeowner's going to spend all their time trying to get the gravel back up into the parking area. As I say, this is just really hard to approve a new footprint, larger structure, even though it's being pushed back within the 50 and the ACEC is just very difficult.
Dick?
So I have one question, as we were talking about the driveways and the gravel. Where you are adding on the little finger of the back, of the, being able to back up, that's as we've mentioned, a fairly deep swale going down. So how, I don't want to have, how much sand are we putting in there, or what are we putting in there? But that's going to be level with what is presently there? Is that what I'm seeing? So that you're creating a mound, a fairly tall?
So if you follow the 16-foot contour, it currently runs between, you'll see there are 3 locust trees that are being removed. We have the red
Yeah.
X's. So that 16-foot contour is just going to be basically pulled just to the foot of that wall on the back. So you can see we've got top of wall 17.5, and I know you can't see because we have it planted, but it says bottom of wall 16. So we're basically just going to be pulling that 16-foot contour around. So there will be some grading that's going to be required in that area. And we can certainly get you a calculation for how much material we need to put in there for that grading. But that wall will be a 1.5 feet high. So yeah, it won't be significantly. We won't need a 4-foot plus wall.
Extending on the top of the swale?
That's
basically?
correct. Yes. Yep.
So you see what we're up against is we're adding fill in a resource area, so that's difficult.
Understood. And we can honestly provide the alternatives analysis. We worked with this driveway and came up with multiple alternatives to try and make it as minimal, and this was as minimal as we could to provide a turning radius that's safe for people without having to make a 15-point turn.
Fair enough, we
in the
just
gravel.
need the specs.
It's tough getting out of there.
Yeah, very tough, yeah.
Josie?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, as far as that wildlife corridor for the extended gravel driveway, I was just wondering if you compared the northern corner to the southern corner, and if you could just go a little south on that northern corner to equal the southern corner, it would maybe make a little more corridor for the wildlife.
He's talking
So
about the,
making it parallel to the
Yes.
property line?
Yes,
We can try.
see what you can do.
that would be a suggestion.
Might be just a car length issue, I don't know. Okay.
Just an FYI, doesn't make any difference, but Phase 3 should be completed in 2028 for sewering, so that would probably likely be connections in early '29. Doesn't have anything to do with anything, but just an FYI.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I just, it's Mike?
Yes.
Mike, I just had a couple quick questions. Under your goals and outcomes section in the narrative, page 5, you refer to the coastal bank remaining stable. Is it your assessment right now that it is stable? Is that the operating assumption?
Yes, it is stable.
Okay. And then I was looking at the narrative vis-à-vis the planting schedule that you have on your plan. And on page 6, might just be a typo, but you refer to 178 native shrubs and grasses. On the plan, it has 278 in total. Which is the governing number?
The planting plan, yes.
Planting plan?
Yes, I wrote this, and then we added a lot more
Okay.
plants to the planting plan.
That's what, you read my mind on that one, which is awesome. And then Teresa knows I love to ask this question, but the roster of native shrubs that's proposed here, in the context of the drought, is there some thought that went into our current drought situation with the specific plants and shrubs?
Yes, absolutely. And we have more drought-tolerant ones, more in the upland, and it's pretty well shaded, and we're building a ground cover under the canopies, so it should be pretty drought-tolerant.
Okay.
I hope.
Thank you.
John?
I just, it was a very nice mitigation plan. I mean,
Yes.
if you haven't missed it, this is gonna be wiped clean. I mean, and so we stood there and we struggle with this when it's 100% invaded, because we're just gonna lose so much biomass when you get going on the removal end of things. But there, and I don't know, at the onsite, we talked about in the past where we've had larger sites. This one's a little different, being small and adjacent to the lake. we've tried to phase that, so there's been not such an impact to the site, but it's hard to do with this, and we stood back and kind of shook our heads, well, this is the way to do it, but it is a substantial mitigation plan being offered here, 100% of the 100-foot buffer. I didn't have too many concerns over the wall. I was able to figure out I was only holding about 2 feet of grade, but, I like the size of the trees offered, especially the white oaks and the tupelos. I appreciate seeing those come in at a pretty good size initially to try to regain some of that habitat quickly, even over the 3-year life of the project, which sometimes can take 5 years. I didn't have the coastal bank. The coastal bank at present's in a poor condition, I would say. I've been involved with this site with the previous owners, chasing some stuff out of there. It's fairly bare and trampled. They're bringing, the lawn area proposed is only really extending, I'm not sure I got this right, about 12 feet off of the deck. It's just not a lot of space on this site. I understand the low value of turf lawn to us in a commission setting. But I understand the value for a homeowner to be able to walk around the home and all that. So you heard the comments. I'm sure you'll look at what you can do with that. Is there any other way to deal with the replacement of biomass over the 3-year life cycle of a typical order of conditions?
Yeah, so one of the things that I think is important is that this site is very well canopied, and we are showing, and we have tagged and showing the locations of the locust trees and the Norway maple that we're removing. At the pond edge, we do have, and this goes to also the screening concern, there is existing tupelo and red maple at the pond edge. They haven't been located on the site plan, but those are all going to remain. In addition, as Mike pointed out, there is significant oak and pitch pine canopy just outside of the area where the current footprint of the house and the yard is. We'll be removing the English ivy that's climbing up into those trees, but those trees are all going to remain, which is why we're kind of showing a fairly low shrub planting in the area just to the north of the proposed structure, because we do have a significant existing canopy on the site, so a healthy native canopy. You probably noted, and we did include in some of the photos, that we did lose locust trees during the storm, and as a matter of fact, one went through the roof of the cottage. So that's another important reason for us to remove the locust trees. They're so shallow rooted, they snap so easily. And the other thing is that in amongst that mix of multiflora rose and shrub honeysuckle and vine honeysuckle and bittersweet, there are several native arrowwood viburnum, and there's actually, they're holding on in there, so those will also remain. Some of them we may have to flush cut to remove the invasive vegetation around them, but as we've noted on other sites, they regenerate very quickly, and within a year or two, they're 3 to 5 feet tall. So I think that will also help minimize the loss of native vegetation, but I think more importantly, the native canopy that's existing and will remain on site is going to be important to keeping that biomass in the area. I know we're removing a significant number of invasive trees, but all of the native trees will be remaining, including the native trees that are planted densely and the existing native shrub and ground cover layer that's within the wetland area right at the edge of the pond. We're just augmenting that with the clethra and the winterberry holly. The blueberry, the winterberry holly, et cetera, that's in there is healthy.
Okay, thank you.
So this one's just sort of difficult in terms of our whole criteria of blending in with the natural surrounding. I hear what you're saying, that there are some trees that are screening it now, but given that it's going to be a significantly higher dwelling than what exists, that would speak to having more trees and more screening. That said, I think the little white cottage is being replaced by something that may have a natural exterior rather than, and I don't know what the exterior, it's a contemporary house like that looks like it would be like cedar or.
Yeah, it's cedar.
It is
It
cedar.
is cedar, yes.
So, and again, don't get upset with me, John, because we don't like to talk about colors, but a little white, very apparent cottage compared to a cedar finished siding will, to my mind, much better blend into the natural surrounding behind it. which I think helps to some extent in terms of being able to mitigate this project. And I do agree that this is an excellent mitigation plan. I would still like to see a couple trees in the front, a couple additional natives, tubelos.
I think it would be helpful if we put the approximate location of the existing maples and tupelos, and then we're augmenting those with more maples and tupelos, so that might help also for the visualization of what's actually planted in the front of the cottage.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, you've heard our concerns. You've
Absolutely.
addressed them as you will.
Thank you.
Anything else before we ask for continuance? Any public comment? If you could go up to the mic.
As someone who lives on this road.
Sorry, could you introduce yourself? for
My
the
name is
record?
Mary Ellen Reed, and I live across the street, and I deal with some of the same mitigation issues, which I think they've addressed very nicely in their plan. But I guess one of the concerns I have is that the mitigation plan, there's a delay in terms of the trees being removed. And I have a similarly sloped driveway and have had to put mitigation in to deal with the storm runoff. So I guess I would just make sure that there is at least some sort of temporary measures put in terms of there is a delay of almost a year according to the timeline before the plantings are put back in the ground. And I have had to deal with a lot of mitigation on drainage on my property, which has a similarly sloped driveway, has drainage outside of the area, right outside the property. I've also had to put drainage down by my garage area to deal with some of the storm runoff. I am thankfully not on the lakeside in terms of the storm impact. So I guess I have concerns about the storm runoff and how that will impact the lake in the intro. Even though I think this is a fabulous plan and you've addressed a lot of concerns, I just want to make sure that there's something that will be a temporary measure. And I'm not convinced, because I have a bit of a swale on my property, that that is going to be the answer. It has not been for me. So, thank you.
Any other public comment in the room? Online, anybody?
No raised hands.
So can perhaps we can just challenge Stephanie to look at that stormwater concern from the public. I know you heard that a little bit about the commission, so, and then I think, the other thing we did with another project that has this level of clearing, we could look at secondary work limits adjacent to the lake after the mitigation has been cleared, knowing that area. So maybe look at those things to address the public comment we received as well.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I thought that maybe the owner had a question, or did you want to address anything? Okay. All right.
Can I ask one question? If you're going to continue, I am still flummoxed by, I guess, what Mr. McDonald did with the footprint, because I feel like that was a footprint number, and then he times it by 1.25 to allude to a quarter story somewhere. Can you just look at that again, try to give us those three
Okay, I'll
units of
try to
measure that are in
clarify, yep.
14, so we can understand? I feel like it's like the real difference here is like a 20-foot room. I think that's what's being asked for, so.
Yeah, if we
It'd be
can
nice to see it in black and white.
clear up the volume,
The footprint,
Yeah.
and the
Square
the
feet.
My
livable,
guess
usable square footage.
Is a lot of it is,
One of them was very
second
small.
floor
I think
room,
there's a
right.
room there in the volume. There's probably,
Yes.
it's, I don't think they're huge, I think, but if you can help us understand what's being asked for and what's being mitigated for, I think just makes it all clear to everybody.
okay.
I just have one comment. Would that would the volume have to do with the ceiling height?
Absolutely, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, so, so maybe that,
Ceiling height and a second story.
Yes,
right,
story.
that may have to be lowered.
Well,
And just to be clear, it's not, I mean, you could see on the elevations, it's not a full second story. It's one room on the second floor.
just again, resource area, handy volume, so, yeah. Mitigatable, but you've heard us, so.
Public view shed, it's right across from the public beach on Pilgrim Lake. Couldn't have a more public view shed.
I'm sorry, did you have a comment?
I had a question.
If you could come up to the mic, please.
Just want to get.
and introduce yourself for the record.
Sure. My name's Peter McDonald. And you asked for comparisons of 3 different things: volume, square footage, and the third one I didn't get either here or
Footprint.
understood.
Footprint.
Footprint.
Footprint, so footprint, living space, and volume. Got it, got it.
Sorry, Pete, I didn't recognize you back there, but I think you
hiding in
you
the
have at least 2 of them here. I think
Yeah.
maybe the
Yeah, I'll get the rest.
third's
If you
wrapped
just
up
put
in
them all on a very clear table for us, that'd be super helpful. Yeah, thank you. What kind of dates are we talking?
So the 21st is the next hearing, and after that is when?
Uh,
May.
Yeah, what's your turnaround time, do you think? So you want to go for the April 21st? Okay, could we continue to April 21st, please?
Okay, can I get a motion?
Sure. I move to continue the project at 169 Monument Road to April 21st, 2026.
Second?
All those in favor, Tim?
Aye.
Ginny? Aye. Dick?
Aye.
Judith?
Aye.
Lucy? Aye. Ken? Thank you. Thank you for hearing all our concerns. Okay, our next order of business is a revised plan request. Michael and Tracy Robiget, 27 Cheney Road, DEP number 54-2677, map 72, parcel 2. Proposed request to authorize the extension of the limit of work and the in-the-water work duration to facilitate removal of the existing concrete seawall footing and proposed replanting effort.
We're going to drag everyone up and put them on the spot, so I see Steve trying to hide. I'll try to tee this up as our applicant team comes in.
Let's have them introduce themselves
Please.
first, please.
Good morning. I am Jeff O'Neill with Polhema Savory de Silva, the construction manager for the project.
Steve LeBranch from Wilkinson Ecological. We're doing the restoration.
And Ben Zender, and these will be the last words I will say today.
All right, John, if you want.
Well, the applicant has an order of conditions, DEP 2677, to replace the CES on the applicant's property, which is a vertical seawall bulkhead. And they have been working and have completed and installed most of this. As they were working to finish that concrete wall that I think, if you remember, are on site, is one of the wing walls to the west of the site, as you pull in the driveway to the right. It was the older portion of the CES that existed on the site. They probed and found a footing to it, and they can describe all that. Alternatives were discussed when that was found, and this has a time of year restriction. Work has stopped currently. Landside work continues, obviously. In the water work has stopped. And I was part of a discussion on site that went over a host of alternatives for the property owner. One, and I'll let you guys summarize this. If I mess this up, this is non-typical, so I'm going to reserve the right to speak a little bit. First one was to just keep working under the order of conditions, install the wall. But as I think I just said, they found a footing under that wall, and that extends seaward of your approved limit of work. That was one alternative, just to leave it in the bay and install the wall that they had the permit to install. The other alternative was discussed as one that would pursue removal of all the aggregate and concrete from the bay. That involved working beyond the approved limit of work, and that was kind of a hard stop for me. And then the applicant had a discussion with their homeowner to see if they wanted to undertake this work, because it was new work. And the team went away for a little bit, and I think I heard back from Melissa, hey Melissa, about that was desired to do it all now. I also think, while it's a disturbing alternative that involves the request before you today to adjust the limit of work seaward, it also gets the entirety of the 1961 wall out of the bay. So I felt like it was environmentally preferred, although it wasn't without its challenges. I don't know how deep, maybe we can hear from the team about how deep the footing is. But from the onsite and I have some pictures to share too. There's salt marsh vegetation that has accumulated and grown on top of the footing. And so given that they're out of time and no longer working, and if you approve this today, have a very short window of time that's going to be, that you're going to acquiesce to, that's beyond their TOY, that was a local TOY for salt marsh. They've already prepped all the landside stuff, and I have some pictures of all that work that has taken place, and that's the temporary shoring, so the wall could be removed, et cetera. But the ask today is to revise the plan to jog the limit of work and then institute this protocol that they've given you, again, front-loaded in detail from their team side on how to remove that portion of the marsh that's on top of the footing and then put it back in actual substrate of the bay bottom once the footing is gone from the bay. So that's what's before you today, a revised plan request to jog that and do that work. If you approve that, after discussion, obviously, and a lot of questions, if you approve it, we would grant them the additional time to do that. I think we should hear from them how much time they need. I know they're prepped for it. That'll probably start to happen immediately. But that's why the team is here. I think I was trying to see everyone a little earlier than right now, maybe at the previous meeting, that the blizzard jammed everyone up for sure, especially this project, as well as ice. So here we are. And I do have a few pictures I could pass around. The wall, if you remember, it starts in the lawn. It goes through a small section of high marsh. There's a footing under that. And then it goes into the low marsh. There's a footing under that, which then makes the corner that was old timber wall, no footing, and that's already been installed with the vinyl sheet and timber facing, as you can see in my pictures that are from last week. So that's just an introduction, and I don't know if I've missed anything or if I've missed the specifics of the ask, but maybe I think the commission might be here about, it might be nice to hear all the work you've done in preparation for this, because the commission does have, this, again, was a hard stop for me to extend the limit of work seaward. That has to be done by you. But I think there's good reason to do so, and I think you have a group here that's ready to take advantage of an approval if you see fit to grant it today with quick action.
Well, thank you, John. That summarizes where we sit today very succinctly. In preparation of this work, we have installed a pretty extensive and robust supportive excavation, inclusive of steel pile and wood lagging on the landward side. That is completely installed and protecting both the upland, the landward driveway and grade above this concrete wall, as well as removed as much of the concrete wall as we possibly can without impacting the existing footing. The footing itself, as John explained, is larger than we could have anticipated during initial pre-construction survey. Given the age of the wall, we're actually surprised at how robust the structure is that is there. So we are looking in terms of a timeline to move right into this work, starting, if we're granted this extension, tomorrow, and being complete with this work by April 24th. And that includes the removal of the footing, the installation of the vinyl sheet pile for that last approximately 60 feet of wall, and as well as the timber facade, the Greenheart timber facade that goes on the outside of the wall, too. We have, as John alluded to, mapped this out in supplemental work protocols that we have submitted to you for both the pre-removal of the wall, during the actual removal of the footing, and then post what we do at that point. And happy to answer any questions in regards to it.
as a subtlety that I missed. So do remember the order of conditions already required of the applicant, all the marsh monitoring, and also carried the marsh restoration protocol. And I'd like to hear from Steve a little bit on what Wilkinson drew up. But when we were looking at the vegetation that's on top of the footing, it is healthy. And so there was an effort made on the applicant's behalf to try to reuse that. And they have those two instruments in the order that require them to do that. So after the vinyl sheets are installed over this last section of wall, the fender piles are driven. That will affect the sill producing work. The veneering is not sill producing. That happens. That can happen outside the TOI. But those two, the removal, the things that the commission, I think, would want to see quickly is the removal work, the vibrating, however they do it, of the vinyl sheets, and then the driving of the fender piles. And then all that work will be done by the 24th of this month. And so, the only good thing about a cold winter is it bought you a little bit more time for our salt marshes to wake up. So none of that's really popping just yet that I've seen. Maybe you guys have seen some sun-loving spots, but so there's that as well that worked in their favor. I guess it both worked against you, but also works perhaps in your favor. But so it's just a non-typical thing, but it comes up during the heavy construction stuff. So, Steve, can you go over your work protocol, please?
Yeah, so what we plan to do, the footing is approximately 3 feet.
Yeah, 2.6 to 3, yep.
So there's about approximately 30 square feet of the high marsh, which we'll remove in about 12-inch by 18 by 18 pieces. We'll store it up in a shady area, and we'll separate the high marsh, low marsh, then it's sort of Cape Cod lawn down to there. And we'll store that and then put it back in as soon as the sheet pile's in.
Okay. And you've got previous experience with this storage technique and the survivability?
We've never done, well, I've never done, actually removed it like that, but it is still dormant last time I looked at it. And as long as we get it back in there quickly, it should be fine.
Marsh sod.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone has too much experience doing this, but
Yeah, I mean.
it is also, it's also root material that's on concrete, so
Yeah.
assuming that they should be able to, maybe, it's,
I'm assuming no such thing. So
Yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
assuming anything about this project because it's tricky and as you say, you've never done it before.
We can plant it with supplemental plugs if necessary.
Yeah.
Which are also not available yet anyway.
I think that was in your write-up as well. Yeah, go ahead.
Steve, in the protocol document you submitted to us, it's dated March 3rd. There's a reference on the second page to during summer months. How is that in play here?
It's not.
It's not, okay,
We're not gonna,
okay.
it's gonna be back in April.
And then Jeff, and maybe Ben, I may make you speak here, but we're gonna be in a king tide during your time period. Have you factored that into your chronology?
Yes, we have. I mean, there's the most time-consuming activity will be removing the footing.
Up
The actual
front.
Up front,
Yeah.
yep. The actual installation of the vinyl pile, once that starts, is very efficient.
Okay.
So we are going in, as we said, right away into that, like we're poised to start removal right away.
Okay.
So we believe that's plenty of time till the 24th to get the silt producing activities completed.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Tim?
I just want to make, I'm sort of a little clouded. So the footing is in the water, is that correct?
Yes, a portion of it is.
Okay, and it's covered with marsh.
Yep.
Are there any shellfish? Any issues with that? And if you find shellfish, live shellfish under the marsh or in the dirt,
Yes.
what's your proposal of trying to save them?
I don't believe we have a specific shellfish management plan in regards to this work. It is, as the area that we be impacting the marsh or transplitting the marsh, right now is, obviously, there's only so much marsh that's on top of the existing concrete footing.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm not a shellfish biologist, but I would have to say that, you know, that doesn't leave a lot of habitat for shellfish to live within
Okay.
that. But, no, to answer your question, we don't have any specific shellfish protocol at that point.
Okay.
And I
That's my only concern.
I would say that any approval today, you know, per this letter, March 31st, is for the footing removal only and not alteration beyond the footing removal.
Ginny?
Okay, help me understand. So the footing is underwater, so it's under the pond bed. Yes? Does it extends below the,
Yeah, it extends below grade and extends then 2.5 to 3 feet out underneath the marsh. I mean, at the time of construction, it probably wasn't marsh, and the marsh has now, come over the top of the footing.
okay, so I have a two-part question, and probably to you, John, through the chair. Is the removal considered dredging?
No, we're just going after the concrete, not excavation of bay bottom other than
Okay,
the footing removal. That's why I think we have to be specific here. They've done their best to try to limit the ask to that. It's really all we could cover. It is part of the license wall. I think it is, it'd be ideal to get it all out with the area that's already kind of under construction, but it's nuanced. I mean, we want the footing out as easy as it comes out, and it involves a 3-foot jog and the approved work limit. That's it.
so but it also, if you take it out, something has to go in. Are we assuming that the
The proposal by Wilkinson kind of governs that.
pond bottom
The
is,
vegetation that's accumulated and growing on top of the footing is to be
what about,
harvested and
what about the hole underneath it? We just,
How tall is the footing?
just assuming that that's going to
It's
silt in?
approximately a foot.
So
Yeah,
it would be a
foot
foot
to 10
of
inches.
empty space.
Of empty space.
Yeah.
So you're gonna put fill in it,
it's all,
or is it gonna
this
just,
work's already in the water, so it's not like it's just gonna slurry when they remove it,
okay,
I would
slurry.
think.
All
But
right, that's,
they're already in the water work with the approved order of conditions.
just need to ask.
It's not gonna be able to stand up,
Yes, we do.
build this, I have no idea.
Okay.
It's a bit of a, again, the governing kind of goal was to try to get the aggregate out of the bay.
Understood.
With that goal in mind, I think they did their best, but was,
Yeah, go ahead. Ken.
Jeff, it sounds like you have everything teed up and ready to go in terms of the requisite materials, but I just wanted to get your confirmation. I remember one of the forecasted delays was getting the Greenheart imported wood, and
Yeah.
so we're good to go?
Yeah, we have all of that material.
Okay, so it's all,
Yeah.
that's very helpful, too.
Yes.
It's, just seems like a remarkably aggressive timeline, and I just, if there was any delay in there, you might, I don't want to see you again, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I get it.
And just to be clear, the portion where the footing is under the wall when it comes out of even the high marsh, you're just gonna, again, cut out what's there and put it right back in? So we're not putting any turf lawn or anything crazy like that? Okay. John, did you have something else?
yeah, I just, to make, and maybe I could probably be there to see when they put the veg accumulate on the footing back, I guess, but I can maybe ask Steve to notify me of that.
Yeah, it'd be
As a
good.
curiosity, I was trying to think about, just, in the event of king tides after, it doesn't become, debris.
Well, I mean, my obviously concern is the health of the marsh. We don't like to mess with marsh. Everyone knows that. So, and because haven't tried this before, extra concerns, so I don't know how often, or I can't remember how much monitoring, but certainly, I would say more than,
Open-ended. I think it just said before, during, and after.
I mean, more than was in the original plan. We need to be monitoring, so we might want to amend that monitoring plan as part of this.
But we can't do that with the revised plan request. So let me just look at how that.
We can add to the protocol, the Wilkinson protocol.
Absolutely, good.
As it says in August, confirm minimum of 90%, we can say, check it in July, that type of thing. I mean,
Or through the rest of the
or whatever makes sense in terms of.
That might be a nice thing
don't
to
grow marsh
do.
plants
So
as a living, so I
that's
don't-
on page 2 of 3. We're on the replanting protocol. You could add a new number 1 and bump everything down sequentially about notifying the conservation administrator for replanting shall take place. And then you can add a new point, I guess, number 9, about additional monitoring.
Well, it does,
Says for,
post-construction monitoring, it does say check weekly for survival, so
well, if you want to modify that.
weekly works. Weekly works.
Do we want it to extend past August of 2026?
We sure do, but I think the original plan has salt marsh monitoring through the year. So we were going to be messing with it anyway.
If it doesn't, could we?
John, do you remember the original monitoring?
I think it was just pre and post.
I think it was just pretty.
Yeah.
So we required the monitoring of those 4 areas. Pretty open-ended, so it's before, during, and after for a season. We can't change that, so we would want to add any additional monitoring before acting on the revised plan request to the Wilkinson protocol. So you could do that. You could approve the revised plan request subject to the receipt of a revised Wilkinson monitoring protocol that had some
Monitor.
a little bit more attention given to that area.
I mean, I would say monitor it for 2 growing seasons versus 1 type, yeah.
For next spring.
'Cause
But I still think the order has sufficient enough language to, if we're unsuccessful here, to maybe require a second effort, but and I think that's
I don't think anyone wants to kill the marsh, so, I mean, I know you guys don't, and,
well, we want the concrete out and the marsh back,
Yep,
which I
that's
think is the
exactly
offer.
right.
Yeah, I mean, this
Yeah.
is really scary because it's so unknown and it's not something that we've done before that we have a lot of experience with, and it's also a significant disturbance. All of that said, I agree with John, it's environmentally the thing to do and it's a better approach, so I think we need to sort of hold our breath and go for it.
Any other questions, guys? Okay, can we get a motion to approve the revised plan request?
We can, I just want to make sure, are we adding a special condition?
We are requesting that we get a revised Wilkinson plan to ensure marsh monitoring for 2 seasons,
So
growing season?
can I offer a suggestion?
Yes,
So we wouldn't be adding any special conditions. The
Okay.
special conditions are the order conditions that have been issued against the property stand, and they do, as we have discussed, cover salt marsh to some extent. But the suggested motion today is to approve the revised plan request detailed in the PSD later dated March 31st.
Got it.
Subject to receiving a revised Wilkinson Ecological Design Protocol with additions on, I think I was looking at page 2, but whatever additions we discussed. So additions on page 2 regarding pre-construction meeting prior to replanting, that's easy. And then, was there anything else, or did you?
Monitoring for 2 growing seasons.
2 growing seasons.
And a bullet point that covers monitoring to extend to growing seasons.
Salt marsh, both low and high.
Again, I don't think that's a heavy lift for the team, and I think an important one for the commission.
Not as heavy as getting this done before April 25th.
Yeah, the heavy lift is the concrete wall. Well, I will say, I
They're going to
mean,
be driving straight to the site.
you've heard it from me before, this is a big project, and
Yeah.
it's, but it's a very well-run and neat job site, and I stopped out to check on them last week, to be honest, to see if they were teed up, ready to go. They do look teed up, ready to go. The materials are stockpiled right adjacent to where they intend to work. The temporary shoring's in place. They're ready to go.
All right.
I did check up on that, and it, if you act today on the request detailed March 31st, I think.
All right, let's go.
They'll get to work.
Can I get a motion?
I move to approve the project at 27 Cheney Road, referencing the project narrative by PSD dated March 31st, 2026. The supplemental work plan submitted by PSD, could not find a date on that, but the supplemental shoring and existing wall removal plan submitted by Cape and Islands Engineering dated March 26, 2026. The protocol for transplanting salt marsh vegetation submitted by Wilkinson Ecological Designs dated March 3rd, 2026, subject to revised Wilkinson marsh monitoring protocol for 2 seasons.
Second.
And an on-site visit before.
And an on-site visit.
Thanks.
I mean, not an on-site, a
Notice.
Conservation Commissioner on-site
On-site
meeting.
At the job site.
Okay,
Second.
all right. And just be clear, we're approving not a project, but a revised plan request. Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Tim?
Aye.
Ginny?
Aye.
Aye.
Judith? Drusy? Aye. Ken?
Aye.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Get
Good
to
luck.
work. Okay, next order, next order of business, certificate of compliance, Aces Landing Realty Trust for Aces Landing, DEP number 54-0181. The addition to an existing single-family dwelling. Work occurred within the 100-foot buffer zone to the top of a coastal bank.
This is an older project, so the engineer did go out. There was a minor deviation in the driveway, so I did get an as-built with the COC, but with that, I would recommend to you that you can find the project today in compliance.
How much additional driveway was put in?
Oh, no, deviation in the driveway.
Okay, all right. Any other questions on this one, guys? Okay, can I get a motion?
Yes, I move to approve the certificate compliance at ACES, at 4 ACES Landing, DEP number 54-0181.
Second.
All those in favor? Tim?
Aye.
Ginny?
Aye.
Judith?
Aye.
Drusy? Aye. Ken?
Aye.
Next order of business, certificate of compliance, Carol Houseman, 7 Brick Hill Road Extension, DEP number 54-2335. The installation of a new septic system. Work occurred within the 100-foot buffer zone to an isolated wetland.
Again, also, in with the project, letter from the engineer, septic is installed and working, and today you can find this in compliance with a vote.
Questions? Motion?
I move to approve the request for certificate of compliance at 7 Brick Hill Road Extension, DEP number 54-2335.
Second.
All those in favor? Tim?
Aye.
Jenny?
Aye.
Dick?
Aye.
Judith?
Aye.
Drusy? Aye. Ken?
Aye.
Next order of business, administrative review. Joe and Kristen Kinsella, 27 Ruggles Road. The proposed removal of a cedar tree at the top of a coastal bank.
I think Kristen's on the call, but you have pictures of, this is a cedar tree, so it is between the house and the top of the bank. And I'm certain that the Kinsellas didn't want to remove the tree. However, the tree suffered some pretty nasty damage during the blizzard and lost a good half of its canopy. So over the long term, tree shock was an issue. Cedar, it's not a deciduous tree, not going to come back. Given that it was still green and given that where it is, I did tell Kristen I wanted to put it in front of you. And I don't love seeing it, but you do have a property owner that did love and care for that tree and is probably reluctantly in front of you, actually taking on its removal. And so I guess I would recommend that at this point, it's time to take the tree. There is a number of other trees offered with a previous project mitigating the entirety of this coastal bank. You have a very good property owner and all that mitigation is in very good shape. So no other issues with me. I just wanted to let you know because it's a very visible
So
tree.
how about replacing this with a new
I didn't
cedar
speak with
tree?
Kristen about that. I don't know if they're willing to. They did a number of tree replacements with their previous project. I'm not sure if they're willing to do one more, but I didn't discuss that. They have trees not shown in this photograph immediately to the panel on the left that shows the tree. The trees that were planted with the mitigation project are immediately to the right
I
or
don't
on
know.
the
To
top.
me, half a tree is better than none, and if it's none, then I would want a replacement tree. I think it's a great cedar. In the storm, I lost several half cedars, and I'm certainly not touching the rest. They're still alive and well. We'll see for how long, but, yeah.
In removing the tree, how would this affect the embankment?
This tree's in the lawn on the buffer zone to the top of the bank, so it won't affect the coastal bank.
Okay.
Kristen, I don't know if you had any thoughts about replacing the tree that you want to discuss with the commission.
Yeah, like you said, that tree is, the birds love it, and I love watching the birds, so I feel terrible about it. It's just we lost 11 branches this time. We lost 5 branches a couple years ago. We do have other mature cedar trees on the property, so hopefully that will help the birds. We are doing a project along the front of our street right now where we're going to put in an American holly, a magnolia. We're going to put in more natives, so I hope that will help mitigate it. Where you've got a wildflower meadow out back there, and I am reluctant to disturb that with another tree. We did put 3 more cedars in as part of our bank project. So I don't know if that would satisfy everyone in terms of putting another tree. I don't know if we'd be able to put another tree in the same spot because I'm not even sure we'll be able to grind the stump. I don't know if we'll be able to get equipment back there, so it might just be something I put a plant pot on top of. So I don't know. I'd be worried about disturbing the coastal bank, not being an environmentalist like that. I could ask Teresa at Blue Flax what her thought was, but I'd be worried about disturbing the bank to put in another tree in that general area.
Any impact on screening?
Oh,
Screening
yeah.
the-
The
Yeah.
blizzard had an impact on the screening.
That's one of
Yes.
the issues I have with
Yeah,
taking
but
that tree.
that is the issue. So, yeah, I would think we need another cedar in that lawn area, screening the house from the resource, if that's,
I would keep the tree.
well, yeah.
I mean, cedars get broken in half all the time on the Cape in storms and everything else. I mean, I've got a cedar that's been leaning like this for 20 years, and everyone's like, oh, that's dead, take it down, and it's alive and well, so. I would leave the current tree and keep half of it. Trim it to get rid of craziness and clean it up a bit, but I don't know. If an arborist has said that it can't survive in its current
Well,
form?
it's an eastern red cedar. It's not going to push new laterals.
No, that's not what
So,
I'm saying, but
given
there's
a-
still half a nice big tree there.
I mean, given how much foliage it lost, it's likely to go a particular direction, but I understand your comment.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say one way or another. I guess I'm sort of thinking that a new tree planted near it also to provide screening would provide more screening over time than would the half tree that's half gone. I hear you, Druzy. I'm not sure.
Others, thoughts?
Since we're having trouble with this, how would it be if we went out and looked at it?
There's that.
We could. If the homeowner would let us, just to see proximity-wise and view-shed-wise, if there's a possibility of putting another tree that would act similarly, but not force the homeowner to dig a big, huge hole in the lawn to get all the
You might
roots
walk
out.
out there and go, oh, it's fine.
Yeah, I think that's a nice suggestion.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right,
We'll
fantastic.
hold this up, put it on the
Yeah.
agenda and we'll let Kristen know when it's being discussed next.
Great.
Appreciate it. Thank you for your
Sure.
flexibility. Okay, next order of business, Leslie and Rick Ballou, 33 Herringbrook Way. The proposed removal of a tree leaning toward the dwelling and 7 dead trees on the side of the dwelling.
I don't don't know if the homeowner's here, but we got, they are here. So we got a bunch of work here. We approved all the storm damage, but we wanted to push in front of you the request for the live removal. It is non-native removal with a lean towards that pergola. Giving you a picture of this one as well, hopefully you can see. And then there's a number of dead sticks that are black locusts that the homeowner has flagged and seeks to remove. I don't know if the homeowner is on the call or has
I
anything
keep
to
trying to
add.
bring them in, but they're refusing, so.
It was hard to tip, from the pictures, it looks like it was, it's hard to tell, the lean on it. Yeah, no, I know, I see it.
And then there was a branch collar scar on the sycamore maple that's filling with water that an arborist gave him advice as a point of weakness with the lean towards the pergola.
John, what did the arborist say?
He commented on the branch scar that is an open cavity on the sycamore maple and filled with water. He made a comment as to decay. And felt he believed in a strong northeast wind, it could bring the tree down on the house. This one is not between the house and Lonnie's Pond, in this case. It's off to the side. It'd be the right side if you're looking from behind the house to the pond.
I know the house.
I didn't have too much of a feeling on the recommendation on the dead locust sticks. They don't offer much habitat standing dead. They really harden. It's not like, I would advocate for a standing dead pine versus this stuff, but.
Yeah.
But another one where maybe there could be another tree planted to replace it, to provide some screening.
I mean, it's definitely loss of habitat, the one, not the dead locust, but this one. It's a big canopy tree. There's a lot of other trees coming down because the dead trees are coming down, so. I don't know.
Could we swing by and take a look?
I do that and take pictures, but
I know.
I cannot do that, and we can all just go to the administrative reviews, and I can
Okay.
that piece of my
Let's not
job
get-
to
Let's
you.
not have touchy feelings here, folks. You know, this is just one of the ones where, I don't know.
Sounds like the dead stick removal, I think you agree with me, I'm indifferent, so it sounds like you guys don't have too much of a concern over that. Sounds like if the homeowner is listening, it sounds like the live sycamore maple removal could be approved if a replacement tree were offered in a substantially similar spot.
Yes, that sounds
There is a little bit of lawn area that's on that side of the house where the homeowner could plant a tree. And if they're able to join the call and want to share with us whether they're willing to commit with that, we could approve this today. If not, I would hold it up until I could have that conversation with the homeowner on your behalf.
Okay.
I don't know if they can join our call. If
They're
they're
trying.
unable to, they'll get a follow-up phone call from our office.
They
Ricker.
declined 7 times.
Okay, that's
so-
fine.
Okay, all
With that,
right.
we'll just hold this up.
We'll hold it
And
up.
if I'm able to get a replacement tree in lieu of the sycamore maple removal, I will be prepared to sign this up.
And I'm fine with it, yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds like you all agree.
okay. Do we have to vote?
No action.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, next order of business, Matthew Schmidt, 10 Larbert Lane. The proposed removal of 3 pine trees within the proximity of the dwelling and power lines.
Similar AR, again, you're starting to understand my triggers. Live removals are a trigger. And these are live native removals. These are pitch pines. The homeowner did give you pictures. And the homeowner is here to go over his concerns with the pitch pine trees. House itself, in the pictures, you can see this house at the end of Larboard Lane sits, 10 feet from the edge of a freshwater shrub swamp.
3 large native trees. No replacements proposed. I'm not comfortable.
How close are they to the power lines?
Not,
Oh, sorry.
please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Homeowners here,
Come on
please
in,
help
Matt.
us out.
Let us
Oh.
know, yeah.
Well, first, good morning and thank you. I appreciate everyone's time today. The tree near the power lines is very close, maybe a few feet. And from one of the pictures, you can see the power lines go in two directions, one from the street and then one to the house. So there are two sections of power lines. The tree is very close to the actual electrical wooden pole, and the top of the tree is above those power lines. So my concern there is that tree coming down or damaging the power lines. It's also at the right above the driveway there. So if a car is parked there or people are out in the driveway, that tree is directly above people and power lines. That's that one tree. The two trees very close to the house, one had damage from the blizzard, and part of the branch came down and damaged part of the deck. It is, when I'm standing on the deck, it is right above. If I look straight up, that tree is there, and there's a second also very close. So what gives me concern is a third one beyond those two pine trees completely came down and fell into the marsh. So my immediate feeling is if that big one came down in a different direction, it would have hit the house, and these two are closer to the house. So my concern is really safety and for the house itself, for those two trees.
Is there any possibility of replacing them somewhere else?
I would be completely open to finding another. Would you prefer 1-to-1, or could we do maybe one to like have space to grow into, maybe where the two were? But I'm very open to adding a tree.
Commissioners?
Anybody else? Thoughts?
It's just sort of hard. I mean, I think we're all really concerned about trees, given the recent storm and the amount of damage that a lot of people had. And you kind of never know which tree it's going to be that comes down.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just hard to
Hey, they
try to
survived
figure
this
that out.
storm. They're pretty good trees.
That said, I would hate to see us losing all of our healthy trees that, don't have dead stuff on them and aren't leaning and don't look like they're an immediate threat, just on the off chance that they might come down in a storm, is sort of a hard sell.
Which I understand and appreciate. The concern from us is when we're on the deck or even in the living room of the house, we look out and see these trees, and being in a storm or a windy day, they're swaying and creaking. And, last week I asked my son to move to a different room in the house just because I felt uncomfortable. He was in the living room, and I asked him to move to his bedroom just because I didn't feel comfortable there. So that's a concern. I'd also be happy if someone certified looked at the tree to, review its health, but really seeing the one very big tree that's down already, my first thought was, thank goodness it fell in a safe place. And then my next thought was the other two trees don't make me feel safe.
Any way of trimming them, make you feel safer?
Pine.
That's true.
Pine.
They were
Yeah.
pruned in 20.
Correct.
They were pruned so a similar concern came up in 2023, and they were pruned to lift them off the house, basically. They did survive the blizzard. The one that didn't, I think, was dead. I think maybe it was a standing dead pine. That fell into the wetland. There was some foliage on it. I misspoke.
Yeah, that had green foliage on it, the one that came down. It came down from the base, so it broke at ground level. And that's the concern.
I mean, I would think, at the very least, let's have an arborist take a look at these trees. I mean, they're young, healthy, mature, native trees, 3 of them. And I think every person on the Cape has a tree near their house that could one day fall down. But if they're not in ill health, if they're perfectly healthy, they obviously can survive some wind. I'm not comfortable with just removing all 3.
And interestingly, I think in a lot of cases, the house almost offers a shield and a block of wind to the trees. It seems to be the ones that stand alone. I know on my property, where I just took down some trees is where they are most apt to come down, because there's no longer protection of canopy from other trees.
Would you agree to having an arborist inspect the trees and coming
Yes.
back with a report on that?
That would be great.
That
Yes,
was-
and our landscaper did mention to us that the way the wind blows, it blows from the trees towards the house.
Well, maybe in summer versus winter, too, you know,
course,
sure,
of course,
it blows both ways.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, yeah, that'd be super helpful, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So no action on that today. Is there any public comment? General public comment? Ginny?
I do. So this is a PSA. Town of Orleans is still in a level 2 drought, and because of that, we have issued the following restrictions. I'm going to give you the high points that go into effect on May 1st through the 31st of December. The following uses of water are not allowed: watering lawns and gardens by sprinklers or automatic irrigation system, washing vehicles at home, washing exterior surfaces such as driveways, sidewalks, decks, and other hard surfaces, filling or topping off swimming pools from metered water sources. You will get a lot more information in your April water bill. It will be online. It'll be a town meeting, but use of automatic irrigation systems is prohibited from now until December.
And just to be clear, this applies to people with wells.
With wells and metered water.
Thank you. We are still in drought.
So people may want to think about saving some money and not turning on their irrigation systems because they're not going to be able to use them, and then come the fall, they're going to have to spend more money to turn them off.
That's exactly the point.
Just PSA. Thank you, Ms. Barber.
And is there some sort of reporting mechanism in place for if people
Yes,
observe some
there are
misbehavior?
actually signs in place, fines in place. Yes, it's basically if you see something, say something. You can tell me, and I'll pass it on to the water department, or you can call the water department. First violation is a warning. Second violation is a fine of $50. Third violation is a fine of $100. Fourth and subsequents are all $250. It's not a lot, but it's a reminder.
It's not considered narking when you're saving the environment.
It is not considered narking. No, it's considered being a good citizen.
Okay, thank you.
It's hard to miss automatic sprinkler systems.
Pretty much. Someone
And it's
has a
always
beautiful green
anonymous.
lawn, they're breaking the
And
rules.
it's always anonymous.
Just saying.
Any other public comment? Anyone online? Yeah,
Nope.
okay.
Lucy, I just have one. You had sent out an email about the, I'll just say, work committee.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll stay, because David's away, so.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll
got it.
revisit, yeah. Okay, did anyone have any comments on meeting minutes of 3/17/26? Can I get a motion?
I move to approve the meeting minutes dated March 17th, 2026.
Second.
All those in favor, Tim?
Aye.
Jenny?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Tracy? Aye. Ken?
Aye.
And a motion to adjourn.
Thank you very much.
Second.
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.